So this is, I basically just use Ableton for live. I've got a different setup for most of my writing and stuff. So when Ableton first came through, I kind of saw it was going to let me do what I basically wanted to do for a live show. So if I grab a track from the left, which I've essentially when I'm writing a track, that's what I end up with. Now that is a combination of MIDI parts, some audio loops. I still use audio for vocal samples and percussion elements, but then all my bass lead, synth stabs and everything like that are actually MIDI, which is then feeding out into the hardware synthesizers here, and then going back into the sound card and back into Ableton. So Ableton for me does two things. It works as a drum machine, because I don't have a hardware drum machine yet. But it's basically working as a MIDI sequencer to control these things, and then as a big mixing environment to mix everything down into. And then what I've got on the left-hand side, that is my drums for this particular track, which are individual hits, which are all set up in an Ableton drum rack. So I've just gone through here, it's kind of hard to see, but just loaded in a pile of drum samples that I can use for each of my tracks. I'm using the same drum samples. I mean, there's, I don't know, probably close to 100 samples in there, so like 10 picks, 10 snares, 10 hi-hats, but they're all just been in there, they're all mixed out separately through the drum tracks into a sub-mixer. So I'm cutting all the bass frequencies out of my snares and my hi-hats and everything like that, so it's all going in kind of pre-mixed. My top row here is essentially mutes for all the different sounds I've got going through. So I can just bring up a, so instead of going from drum loop to drum loop, I can pretty much just wipe the drums as I'm going here. Yeah, he's basically, the reason I've got so much stuff up here is because every knob or slider is assigned pretty much to one function. I don't like the idea of going through a screen or anything like that live, just because I kind of find if it's dark and you have a few beers, you don't have to kind of remember what menu you're reading or anything like that. You want to grab the knob and put it on. On the second line, it's just normally a percussion loop of some description, which has just been warped and pretty much sits in there. Third line is the Evolver, which is this thing over here, which is then feeding back into basically this is the mixing environment. The Nord and the Micron.
Silence.
There's not a, if you can see in this, there's a gap up there at the top, which is where the Micron is. Basically because I want to go into the second scene and then have the Micron come on. And then vocals and effects and other bits and pieces at the end. That's essentially looking after all my sources are there. And then the old feed into Ableton, and the DSI 600 at the moment is set up basically as a mixing environment. So each of my 6 channels, now get rid of this. So this side over here is my sources, and they're all feeding into a mixer matrix over here, which is that's what the MIDI on the VCM is actually controlling, basically those 6 channels there. And each one works pretty much in the same way. Then I kind of set it up so I know I can grab pretty much any one of these and it's going to do the same thing over each channel. I don't have to remember if I've assigned flanger to one channel and chorus to another or different settings. I can pretty much know I grab that and it's going to be a high pass, it's going to be a low pass, each channel's got a delay setting on it and a reverb setting on it. Each track that you won't hear there has actually got a high pass out of the whole thing. It just cuts out at about 80 to 100 Hz, I think. What else is going here? Got a beat repeat. And then So while I'm kind of playing, I can actually turn that delay itself into something else that I can actually sit there and play. So it becomes kind of an instrument of its own. And look, if you've got a low feedback on it, it becomes like a one-tap delay, which changes the line you're playing with.
What are the key sort of things that you're, I guess, being creative with, playing more?
Well, the idea of setting this up with so many things I can grab is I can literally just grab something and play it for a bit, rather than kind of going, right, in this particular track I know I kind of do this delay thing. It's, sometimes I'll just find I feel like mucking around with the Nord here or something, and leave the drums pretty much running and then really get into mucking around with the LFOs or oscillators or twisting that out of shape. And sometimes it'll be delays, sometimes it'll be reverbs. I don't know, for my live show I guess I follow a pretty simple path of building something up, getting bigger, delays, reverbs, everything, and then stripping it back down and just getting back to a nice groove and a pretty minimal side of things.
Do you notice a reduction in sound quality because you're playing everything live and it's not a complete track or mastered over?
No, if anything I notice an increase in sound quality because it is being processed. And I only mean it in, that's also going down and listening to it, also compared to DJs playing before and after. There's a lot of, I guess I've got a lot of mixing and stuff going on in here as well. EQs that you don't necessarily see while I'm doing it, and they're all going through. There's a little bit of compression on these things as they go on, so if I turn the resonance right up and then clip the inputs.
What have you got on the master output now? You got a limiter or a compressor?
There's a brickable limiter just to basically protect the outputs of this thing so I don't clip it. I intentionally leave a bit more dynamic range in there. I mean, I am compressing it a little bit to kind of glue everything together, but I'm not smashing it, I guess, to try and make it as loud as anything else.
So I just got a question, Kerry. So I kind of sort of know the sort of music that you've done. This to me seems to me that right now you're not really focusing on the tunes you've written in the studio and performing them out live. This is essentially just live electronics.
This is almost quite a separate project for anything I do in the studio. It was specifically to write stuff to go and play live. I don't even know if I'll actually record these at any point and put them out in a traditional sense.
Absolutely.
And that's why I can kind of write everything in the actual program specifically for it, and it's something that every time I turn the computer off and turn it back on, you'll never hear it the same way because I have to do so much manually. It forces it to be quite creative while I'm doing it, rather than having. I've even resisted the ideas of having dummy clips and stuff to do the filters and stuff for me because it's just a personal thing, but I really want to be just doing all that myself. I could make things a lot easier by just having dummy clips and
absolutely,
stuff in there, but not for this project, I guess.
And you should put your code every time.
I
just keep versions.
It was something
Is that hard like it?
No.
There's a bounced down version.
No, you just hit record and records the master output. But I remember someone saying that I took as advice was any particular show I do live is full of people that are just in the room at the time.
Do you record those shows?
No. And later on I'll do a studio session or something for anyone who wants to download it or buy a CD, but a live show is a live show for people that come to the live show.